Welcome back, everybody. I'm Yemi Jemison, aka Yemi Griot.
And I'm Justin Ladson.
And welcome back to Opportunities Connected. Yes. Thank you, Justin, again for being such a great teammate. We got an awesome show as usual for you all who are listening or joining us and viewing us here on YouTube. I know that this is our second episode. We're keeping it going. And in our first episode, we talked a lot about what the show is. And just as a reminder for those who might just be hopping on Opportunities Connected, it's this bridge. It's like a place where we can meet here and talk about things that, raise awareness about things that can help us grow, not only as human beings, but as a community.
Yeah. And like, this is our passion, like our why.
That's right.
Coming together for sure.
And so it allows us to kind of look at things that that might help us grow, and then things that might be available to you locally or even in this digital world that we've all become very accustomed to. And today's topic, let's go into a little more, Justin. Let's share what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah. So today we are diving deep. Like we've scratched the surface, but today we are really digging. We're digging deep into our core to find out what's really holding us back, Right. So a lot of people say that I don't trust people. It's not in my nature to trust people. But what are they really gaining from having trust challenges in their life? Right. So a lot of times we see it on TV. Like we have conversations with our friends. Oh, no, I don't trust people. But, we're going to really dive into that today. So I'm just going to throw you out there, brother.
Yeah, do it. Let's do it. That's one of the things I love about this show is that, it gives us an opportunity to converse about things, engage with you guys about it, and then just kind of put ourselves out there, some vulnerability.
Yeah. So what I believe is a lot of the challenges that we have today actually stem from our core years of our life. Right. Our elementary to teenage years, right. Sometimes even younger. So we may have heard some things that a parent said or a friend said, and it just stuck with us throughout our entire life. So today I really want to dive in, like throwing you and I out, and maybe some right. of our listeners can learn from that to help themselves grow,
Yeah. So go ahead.
Yep. Starting with you, brother. What do you think is something that has happened in your younger years that you think affects you today as an adult?
Well, I know, just for me personally, one thing that had just such a great impact on a lot of the way I was thinking and then had to grow from and was losing my father at an early age. And so, in a usual storyline, I don't know if you're looking at a movie or something like that, you can see how having that family dynamic could break things up. But then let's put all that back into perspective. I live in the United States, being raised by a single mom, an African-American mom, and she's raising two African-American men or boys who, God willing, grow up to be men. And so I remember at a very early age, and he passed when I was 4, just being like really frustrated that I didn't have a dad. Mm-hmm. And then some instances wasn't fair to my mom. I mean, she understood. She knew she's raising children, and so she knew that there were going to be moments where our minds were learning to adapt to this circumstance in this environment. And to be fair, at the age of 4, there's a lot of memory that is lost prior to that time. And so a lot of my memory, I do have some subtle memories of my dad, but majority of my life, I don't know what it was like to have a father in the picture. And so I used to at some moments in my life, whether it was in school or whether it was later in my adulthood, in my younger adulthood, talking those 20s, date myself again, where I used to be too fired up, and well, I didn't have a father. I didn't have a father, and at times that could and would prevent me from growing. It would stand in my way. It would be a wall that I've put up, you know. And it wasn't until over time that I learned that, my mom's brothers who stood in to help were these male figures in my life that I looked up to and then learned to appreciate, as they set a great example for me on how to lead, how to take care of my family, how to take care of myself. And so I know that there are things that we can sometimes put up as obstacles or roadblocks in our lives that we hold on to from our past. And it took, it took some changes, and including me having my son, to help me realize I don't need that to be something that holds me back. I can use that actually as a strength so that I can be present in my son's life,
Yep.
be more present in people's lives that might also feel like there's this hole that they're trying to fill. Talk about the pain that I felt or the anger that I felt, as a guide or experience that I can share to say, hey, look, don't allow those types of feelings to take control of you, to take
I'm,
hold.
yeah, I'm so glad you brought this topic up. And again, I'm so sorry to hear that your father passed when you were younger. One thing that you've done that a lot of people don't do is you've taken your past and you change your future. You made sure that's not going to be the negative aspect of your future. Like you brought up your son. You're not going to have your son growing up saying, it was tough for me not having a dad. Now you got to then and be tough for yourself because I had to do it.
Right.
We hear that a lot is like our parents have to walk 30 miles to school in the snow. So my child needs to do that. I think we need to change that mindset. Is like we work hard so our kids don't have to work as hard, but they still have to have those challenges.
That's right.
They overcome.
Yeah.
One thing that we don't realize is that no matter how great of a life we give our kids, they will have those challenges.
They will.
So a lot of people add their own challenges to their kids' life.
Yeah.
So now they're going through their own challenge. Now you just added more challenges, and then you think it's going to be an A+ solution. I just raised a man in the house.
Right. And thinking that is the solution to their success. And so, what are some of the challenges that you have personally faced?
Yeah, see, for me is I always felt like I was the oddball in the family. Like everybody else works the 9 to 5, and I went to college to potentially be a lawyer, but mainly because my mom was saying, you got to get this safe job,
Yeah.
And I just wasn't with it. So I did a couple of years, and then I was like, I'm going to follow my passion of owning a martial arts school.
Right.
Now, that affected me for so many years. Being different is I felt like I couldn't really connect with people.
Right.
What I do for a living, you have to be able to connect with people. So having that self-sabotaging mindset of I can't connect well because I'm different really held me back, when truly be who you are will take you further in life. We think we have to be a certain way or live a life a certain way to please people. And that's truly what's holding us back when we don't do that well. So if I'm not being Yemi to the best of my ability, I'm upset that I'm not achieving, when truly I just got to be myself.
That's it.
So,
and what have you found? So tying into that, while I've gotten to this place where I love who I am, and that takes time, sometimes for less time for some and more time for others, but it's such a beautiful place to be in. But then you're a leader, or then you're a parent, and or a mentor, and you try to help those that you are trying to be an example for find that in themselves. And so, there are moments where, as a mentor, to some of my younger or still coming up through the ranks colleagues, I'm able to help them kind of pinpoint some of the things they're great at, and share with them, use that as your strength, use that as your gift and apply it forward. But I found that, my greatest challenge is helping my son find it in himself. And he's young, and sometimes I think I put too much on him in terms of what I expect his brain level to be at. And he's an extremely intelligent kid. Thank God, I'm grateful, so on and so forth. But I also have to remember, although I see him doing mature things or see him growing up fast, he isn't an adult. He's
Oh man,
he
yeah.
is like still developing, and it's still like, and he's still influenced and impacted by what he sees outside, or what he might see in his screen time, or what he hears from his peers or sees at school differently from the way I'll receive it,
Yep.
because
And
we have different experiences.
for the parents who are watching this, this is gold right here.
Yeah.
You have to watch what you say.
Yeah.
Even if you feel like it's harmless, it could be the biggest sword to your child, and I guarantee you. So for an example with me and my son, right?
Right.
He wasn't picking up like his ABCs as fast as the other kids. He wasn't really getting education. Like it just wasn't his thing. But he was only in kindergarten or first grade.
Right. Right.
So in my mind, I'm just thinking like, come on, son, like I'm working extra with him. I need you to be top of the class.
Right.
If I verbalized how I was feeling, that would have been me coming out of a place of weakness.
Right.
And then my son would have held on to that.
Right.
Today, I'm very proud to say, like, I get surprised when he like gets straight A's on his work. Like I'll time him. He's only in second grade, but I'll time him doing like the rundown of different math equations. And he's bang, 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 bang. So putting my son in a mindset where it's okay to make mistakes, it's okay to learn at your pace is what I truly believe is the gold nugget that help him or is helping him achieve success versus you're not doing it good enough. Come on, it's not fast enough. And as out loud, it sounds like that's common sense, right? Like out loud, but it's always different when it's your own child,
right?
Because you want the best of your kid,
right?
So gotta be careful and conscious of what we say. It's so important.
It does. It plays such a huge impact, including because sometimes you might plan out a response, or you're working with your teammates, whether or not it's your spouse or your partner or even other family members like grandma, granddad, aunt, uncle, on how you're going to respond to stuff. But then you forget about the reactionary response. And so, you might have an instance where you weren't planning on it, but they bring up a subject and you're like, I must react. How do I react to this? And how do I respond to this? And sometimes we get caught up in our old ways, or caught up in things that we've heard as children that seemed right. It may have felt right during that period of time, but isn't applicable to this period of time or to your child, you know? And so, for instance, like, I think, I live in a household. I was raised by a single mom. So, over time, I'm in this place where, I feel, women, of course, we need more women in places of power. It'd be great to have, more balance, so on and so forth. So I'm in my mind imagining here, I'm showing this great example for my son, but he's a child, he's coming up, he's in his mind looking at it quite differently, because he's hearing me say women against men, and that's not what I'm saying. And so then I realized, okay, well, how am I saying things? How am I pushing it out there? Should I be talking about it more in terms of balance, or having balance of thought or balance of perspective, rather than, oh, we need more women, or, oh, we need more men, or we need more color, or we need more this and that? Instead of saying it in that way, looking at more and saying, because some things aren't for him to, really worry about now. It's some things, he's a young child, he's still coming up in the world. I don't need him being focused or worried about what's happening in Congress. None of us feel like worrying about a lot of that stuff anyway, but helping him understand why I'm leaning in that direction and saying, hey, I'm not saying it in a women against men thing or a men against women thing. I'm saying it more in terms of making sure everybody has a say,
Yes,
or making sure
100%.
everybody has input. And as I explain it in those better words, then he understands it more, rather than me saying, you know, oh, we gotta have more of this, because he's thinking of it in the terms of tug of war. He's thinking of it in terms of playing Connect Four, or like a game of back and forth. And he's like, well, why? You know, aren't we great? Aren't we? We're great too. And I'm like, hey, you are. What one thing is not saying the other thing, and so learning how to better communicate with our children, learning how to better communicate with those we're mentoring, learning how to better communicate to those we're leading, so that we aren't applying the wrong
Yes.
perspective.
As a teacher, we're always looking, how can we communicate better? Communication is the most undervalued skill that I believe we all need to have. But one thing that has never failed as a teacher is coming from a place of love.
Right,
So instead of you against me against you, it's love. It's like with my oldest who's in fourth grade, and they're experiencing a lot of changes that you and I didn't have to experience.
right,
But when he comes to me and gives me his mindset, I just like, is it hurtful or is it coming from a place of love?
right.
Like, do we want more female leaders because they deserve it, they earn it? Like, that's a place of
Right.
love, or is it we just need to give them a like a leeway? No, they earn it. Like,
Yeah,
that's not a
that's
place of
right.
love. That's a place of hurt. That's a place of holding a group back, which that's not who we are.
Right,
So
right.
that's my number one teaching is love. Come from a place of love. Have it come from your heart. You
That's
see
right.
how great he, she, whoever it is, they, however they are doing it, do they, if they earned it, they worked hard for it, give it to them.
That's
Let them
right.
take it. So I love it.
Yeah, it's awesome, and I feel like it's such a great gift to be in a position where we can do those things and even lead or even share that type of love, and that plays really well into how we're talking about not letting things from our past stand in the way, like not wearing trust issues on our sleeve as a golden stamp or as a trophy, you know.
Our pain from
Right.
when we were younger should not dictate the older version of me. So who's really running the show? Is it the adult version of myself or my teenage or early childhood stage? Who's
Right.
controlling the ship?
Right. I
It's so
used to rap in my former life, and I had some great opportunities to be on stage with members of the Roots, to KRS-One,
okay.
to a great dear friend of mine, my cousin Novel, who's still doing his thing. And
You
one
gotta
of
look him up real quick. Put him
yeah,
on.
yeah. I'll go ahead and drop some of that
Yeah.
in the area. But one of the things I remember was, like, I used to always, even though I wanted to lean more towards conscious hip hop, kind of like Mos Def, Talib Kweli, De La Soul, Tribe Called Quest. That was like really the vibe that I was leaning for. I often found that sometimes I would allow my issues with societal norms sometimes would stand in my way, and then I had this like it would be, you you learn these lessons through life. And I remember seeing an artist that I looked up to for so long before I met him, and then when I met him, what he was doing and talking about at the time, I was like so disappointed.
Mhm.
Then time goes on, and then I'm in a situation, not even thinking about that moment, where I'm doing a very similar thing, and someone who was looking up to me felt disappointed, and I was like, whoa, oh, the table turned right there. Okay,
Yep.
and it helped me do some self-reflection of, like, okay, well, who am I to judge
Mhm.
when I'm walking out there in this same way? And so it it was a valuable life lesson, not just to do self-reflection, but to also look at okay, who are the folks around me, who am I surrounding myself with? Do I have people in my life that I can help keep me accountable and I can be accountable for? And you wouldn't believe how much sometimes the things that you are allowing to hold you back impact who you choose to have around you,
Yeah.
and how you act. And so from that, it helped me to be better. I started saying, you know what, I'm no longer gonna walk
On
in,
that weight behind you.
yeah.
Yep, yep. I love it. I love it. You know, it's funny you say that because you said the tables have turned. I do believe that we're falling into a new norm where it's all about me. It's
Yeah,
like how I need to enjoy life because I'm too stressed. I need to do what's best for me when humans are better in groups. So I believe if we are focused on what impact am I having to my neighbor, what impact am I having to society, that would allow me to be happy as well and help the ones around me as well as the next generation coming up.
right.
So
I mean,
I
you touched on it when you were saying leading with love. And we're not talking about, and love can come in so many different forms. And what I heard from you, and I think we benefit from knowing each other. But I always think of love in terms of the agape love, that boundless love that isn't that's not coming with side notes or a contract or anything like that. It's kind of like this infinite love where I'm looking from the kindness of my heart, not in an intent to manipulate what you're doing because I love some end goal, or I love some specific topic, or I love some, whatever ideology you want to put in that space. No, it's more out of the kindness and the love and giving and wanting to grow and to share and to educate. That's the way I imagine when I say I'm leading with love. I'm not leading with the love of something. I'm leading with the love for all. This agape, like
yes.
boundless love that just is timeless. It's not impacted by, oh well, I'm keeping score. You
Yeah.
came over to my house, but you didn't.
Which in my teenage mentorship program that I run, the Youth Leadership Academy, I'm teaching the concept of reaching out without needing them to reach out in return.
Right,
You know, as we get older, we're like, oh, so and so hasn't called me in so long, I'm gonna
right.
write them off. But now you're given love with stipulations, like
That's
you
it.
have to do something for me to be able to love you in return.
Right.
So I'm seeing that a lot of teenagers are becoming happier because they're not assuming their friends are just ignoring them. They're now reaching out because they genuinely care and genuinely want to reach out, and they're building stronger friendships
Yeah.
because maybe the friend was going through something. Maybe they're putting extra work into their education or having troubles at the household. And now you just became that friend to reach out, not needing anything in return. So the message goes like this: Hey, it's Justin. I'm just reaching out to make sure all is good. Get back whenever you can. There's absolutely no rush.
That's right. That's right. And for you younger peers of ours, it can be
Yeah.
a text. It doesn't have to be that phone call because still just checking in, just saying hello, just doing those things, building that connection, maintaining that bridge is such a beautiful thing to do. And I know we're all busy. Life
Yep.
life can also be the thing that we allow to stand in our way, but life can also be the bridge. You know?
100%. Don't let your trust issues that develop when you were 5 years old prevent you from solidifying your friendships today.
That's right.
Keep building your strong friendships and keep nurturing your friendships.
That's right.
Don't expect anything in return. And I promise you, if they're not meant to be in your inner circle, they're going to fall off.
Yeah,
As you keep leveling up as a leader, those who don't level up with you fall off.
they do. They
So,
do. And it does. You don't look at it. Don't hold any guilt behind it. You're leading. You're walking with love. Don't. You got to take control of it. Take control of yourself. Don't allow that past to dictate what you do today. I couldn't have said it better. I really appreciate you, Justin. You're an awesome brother. And we appreciate you all for listening, for
100%.
viewing us. And thanks for joining us again. We'll be back with more weekly on Opportunities Connected. I'm Yemi Justin, aka Yemi Griot.
And I'm Justin Ladson.
And thank you for joining us here on Opportunities Connected.